Mike with Iceberg Gaming here. In today's Vampire Survivors Guide, I'm going to be talking about what each of the little mini imposter crew members do in the new Vampire Survivors DLC Emergency Meeting. First, let's go over the red, the crewmate. The in-game text says he might occasionally shout at nearby enemies, and this is actually equivalent to the garlic in-game, where it does damage to nearby enemies and pushes them back a little bit. So you can think of it as like a garlic. And of course, he is located right here in the middle of the map in this large complex. You'll go in through this door here and go up to find him. Next up is the blue imposter, the mini guardian. His text in-game says he might occasionally take a hit for you, and this is the equivalent of the laurel skill. It'll give you a little bit of protection. It'll take a hit for you once in a while, as it says in the text, like the laurel in-game. And he is located right next to the red guy, right here in this little building here. The entrance is on the south side of the building. Next up, we've got the orange guy. This is the engineer. His in-game text says he might occasionally electrocute enemies, and this is the equivalent of the lightning ring skill in-game. And he is located in this building here, directly to the south of the blue guy. The entrance is on the north side of the building. And now, next up, right next door to the engineer, you're going to find the yellow, the mini ghost. His in-game text says he might occasionally freeze enemies in fear, and this is the equivalent to the clock lancet skill. It will send out a small blue beam which will freeze enemies in its path. And he is this one right here along the left edge of the map, right next to the engineer. You'll go in right here at this entrance along this path and then loop down to him. Next we have the green mini, which is the Shapeshifter. His in-game text is that he might occasionally fling leftover body parts at enemies, and this is the equivalent of the bone skill in-game. And his location is over along the right side of the map towards the north, right here in this little spot. He is outside of the building in this little corner. Next up, let's talk about the purple, the mini imposter. His in-game text says he might occasionally stab enemies, and this is the equivalent of the knife skill. You can see it on the screen. The knives are flying in the direction that I'm traveling here. He is the southernmost of the imposters down here in this small building here. And finally, we have the pink one, the mini scientist. The in-game text for the scientist is that he might occasionally throw science at the enemies for blinding them with science. And this is the equivalent of Santa water. In the puddles, as if I had Santa water, but as you can see, I do not. And the pink scientist is located right here on the eastern edge of the map inside this building. You can either come in from the top or from the bottom, and he's just right here doing some science stuff. Now, when you level up these skills, it is going to say, quote-unquote, allegedly offers better moral support. All this means is that it is basically increasing the damage, or in the case of the Guardian, the absorption that the ability does. It is going to increase the amount where appropriate, as if it were the duplicator, or it is going to lower the cooldown, or a combination of the three, depending on what the ability is and where appropriate. I know I found these cryptic messages a little bit confusing at first too, so hopefully you found this video helpful. If you did, please consider liking, commenting, subscribing, all that good stuff. Even just a little like is a huge help to a YouTube content creator like me. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.